Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a review of a musical today. It's a little bit different today. This is titled Daywalker The Musical. And if we switch over to here, apparently as I understand it, this is a full musical parodying the 1998 Blade movie, Blade the Vampire one. You can see the art for Blade there. I actually watched those movies when they came out. I watched the Blade movies, and I've recently have seen the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that came out, and I don't want to spoil it, but there may or may be a reference to Blade in there somewhere. I won't say anything more though, because I don't want to give anything away, but it was kind of cool to have that callback. We're going to listen through the first 6 tracks or parts of this from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. It should also be noted that apparently these music videos, they include a variety of AI techniques, so that should be interesting to watch as well. But let's get started with the introduction.
Throughout history, a battle has raged between two sides of the same coin, humans and vampires. But by chance, a mere coin flip of 1 billion strands of DNA fell into just the right place when a pregnant woman was bitten by a vampire. She gave birth to a half-vampire, half-human child. Unlike other vampires, this child could survive the sun's rays.
Pretty amazing.
Under the guidance of a mentor, the child grew up hunting the vampires that had taken his mother. He became a hero that would shake the status quo. They call him Blade, the Daywalker.
The Daywalker. I mean, it's a fantastic intro, isn't it? Just with the piano lines and everything like that there. I appreciated the very professional sounding voiceover. And also the sounds of the Foley that were going on there. The sound of the fighting and everything like that. It made it more than just a piece of music there. It encourages to kind of imagine the sort of the battle scene that was going on there. I like the innocence as well of the piano, because it sort of represented maybe the journey of that child being born. It doesn't give away sort of too much from what's going on in that track initially. It's great, and it's nice again to have that angle of the Daywalker there to kind of contrast against the kind of very kind of gothic, edgy stuff that was going on in the original Blade movie. But now I've got the track number 2 here, so let's get into it.
His eyes, a piercing shade of amber, a storm of emotions, tumultuous sea of loneliness. Is it him? It's him. They stammer.
We're pushing those vocals, aren't we?
Silence falls, you can hear a blood drop. Stick a pin in it, but gun grab the blood mop. He found our dance hideout. Should we run or should we find out?
The crowd is
Great parallel majors and minors there.
silence is golden until one musters the volume to ask again. Is that him? The response was emboldened to cross the threshold when
Slice! I guess I missed out on the invite icon. Left to sniff the blood of vampire again. Now I'll set the mood on fire. When I arrive, I hear their laughter. The pointing, they don't know what I'm after. Can we get on the same page? Every time I engage, they scatter. They think I live, but they're all far from it. But they treat me like garlic. Help me find my place, where do I belong? So I lash out.
oh no, he's here, shut it down. Is that him? It's him. Buzzkill, everyone run now.
Hey, let's talk, let's chat. I have ideas if you'll hear 'em. No reason to run, no reason to shout, no reason to fear 'em. But they back out, so I lash out.
Not worth it to intervene. He's not here to dance. It's Mr. Home Monitor,
The big bad mean Daywalker, the big bad mean Daywalker. Daywalker.
Is there like a sense of like autotune and metatune on those vocals there? Just the kind of the blunt cuts between like the stepping of the notes there.
Daywalker. Daywalker.
And like, it's a catchy track. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there in this song, Daywalker. Before we get into that, though, what do I think this track is about? I think it's the Daywalker coming in and introducing themselves to the people, potentially trying to avenge their mother, but doing so in a different way where they're trying to actually just have a conversation as opposed to kind of get stuck into killing things. I'm trying to remember how kind of blunt Blade was in the original movies. I don't think he did too much talking. I think it was pretty cutthroat and cut to the chase, but I could be wrong. Either way, I think that it was cool to have the lady and male vocals there, kind of having that conversation throughout there. It was very much kind of that musical style. They were having a sort of a sung conversation between each other there. I liked the note choices there. We didn't always just stick with like the typical major and minor chords. The key signature would kind of mess around with some sort of parallel majors and minors or unexpected note choices there. The mixture of the guitar, bass, and drums with that bow bow down. There was like a kind of a synth lead as well there, which was kind of punchy there, resonant in the mid range there. Guitars were quite heavy. There were some interesting major resonances and choices there, which almost added a sense of like hope with the Daywalker stuff. But there was an edginess with the sort of tones, as well as the push of the drums and all that, which kind of made me wonder whether there's some danger there as well. We weren't initially or totally sure how the situation was going to pan out when the two groups met, you know. Bassline was tight, strong in the mix. The arrangement was solid. It wasn't the same motif the entire time. We had dynamic range. Things were not the same loudness all the time either. So it was more like a journey rather than just a consistent sort of like exposure. And now that we've heard a full song, it's 2 minutes 18, nice and short as well. More like a chapter than anything else, but still nonetheless very effective. It's great. Great first impression to the actual music after the introduction. We've got If She Was There, track number 3. Some sadness with the piano, I suppose.
Said she fought to her last breath to ensure my birth was a success. 8 pounds 3 ounces, he said, as if my worth was a measurement. She saved me, this life she gave me with no tools to navigate. So I wonder, what would I have become if she was there? If she was there, who could I have become? A doctor, a teacher, a beach bum, a well-balanced family man, skipping workouts to watch America's Got Talent and eat ice cream on the couch. Or was it destined? If she was there, could she have prevented this? These wounds on my chest and unseen in my heart. If she was there, if she was there. My name was Eric, before I learned about hardship. Was only 9, growing up in a brothel when a vampire attacked a man named Jamal. Could've looked the other way, but I showed up, facing imminent danger. I was there for the stranger, an outlet for anger. My skills latent, my will ardent. Turned out that man was a martial artist.
I mean, the flow is strong. I'm going to try to avoid pausing too much in these listening sections, but just I like the flow of the rap parts as well there. We know how to sort of vary them in a way that's interesting, tell the story in a way that's compelling there, and it has a great sense of pace with the 808s, the drums and the piano, the keys on side.
The start of a friendship, a father even, my fury was tamed, my brain was trained, but a welt remained. Despite what I gained, something was missing, something felt off. When I was 12, I was awkward, avoided in the hallways, and that was before they called me Daywalker. At 16, I left to chart my own path, unfed, unled, unwed, hunting the undead. She was there. Would she guide me? Would she save me from myself? Running into battle blindly, would she stay up at night, wondering if I made it home alive? Would she come and try to find me? If she was there, would she guide me?
Great rise to the head voice there.
From myself, running into battle blindly, would she stay up that night, wondering if I made it home alive?
Yeah, something's kind of unusual about the vocal style there. I am wondering, because I've got to be so careful about this. I'm not sure if it's a human person singing this and I've just got a huge amount of sort of like and like processing on the vocals. Just the cut between those notes. It almost could be AI vocals as well. I'm not sure, but I've got to be so careful about that, right? So careful, because I don't mean any offense. It's either a human voice with a lot of processing to step between those notes like that, or it's like an AI voice singing this there. And I think that honestly, that's getting more and more realistic if it is an AI. It's not an issue for me. I'm just being transparent.
Would she come and try to find me? If she was there, Would she hug me if she was there? Would she love me? Would somebody love me if she was there?
Gorgeous though, man. There's more and more music coming in that has like AI features in it. I think it's just something we're going to have to kind of come to terms with music nowadays, is that a lot of labels and stuff, even a major label, are trying to sort of figure out how to incorporate AI into their music through their output and stuff like that. It's an interesting time to be alive as a musician, right? I like the fact that we're being creative with it. Well, at the very least, with the music videos are tight. I like the images and the artwork and everything like that, and I think it does directly correlate to what we're talking about within the lyrics. I think it's effective as a storytelling device with the audio-visual combination there. This was If She Was There. It patently, I think it's about, you know, Blade wondering, the Daywalker wondering what life would be like if his mom was there. Would he be a doctor? Would he be, you know, a beach bum? What would he be doing? Would he be watching America's Got Talent, right? I think that's a nice angle to follow it. It does kind of read as a parody of the film there. Blade sort of being sort of introspective and trying to figure out whether he wants to have another occupation or if he would there. I love the aesthetic of him and his mother kind of like being there, kind of being warm, her worrying, you know, where he is, and kind of highlights their development as a child going into like teenager and then moving away at 16 there. And I think that the flow of the rap is helped a lot by, again, the 808s and the low end there, a smoothness with the bass response, very sort of authoritative and pleasing to listen to. It just sounds cool. The drums there with the interesting sort of eighth note kick, cymbal and snare patterns. The piano twinkling with major amount of triads there. Some interesting melodies performed as well on top with some synths and the pads in the background. And like a music boxy sort of alternative kind of like voicing to the keys in the last part in the upper register there was a nice way to sort of finish that off. It's well structured. I dig the flow again. I thought we rapped well. And the story that's being told is very easy to understand and follow along to, with or without the captions included. So well done. 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned there. Definitely getting a feel for the same, enjoying my time with it. We've got track number 4 though. Frost Enters.
Can I get you a cup of blood, plasma, coffee?
No, thank you for offering. What's taking so long?
They have an agenda. I think you're after, let me see, Brenda.
That 2-bite diva. What's she complaining about now?
Let's see. Item number 23, vampire dogs barking at the park after dark. Would you like a seat?
I prefer pacing. It's more dramatic, more intimidating.
The council will let you in now.
No one lets me do anything. See? Imagine if I was sitting. Way more intimidating.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, do you mind if I try a couple metaphors out on you?
Metaphors? Sure.
You're like 30-day-old milk, expired.
Let me hear another one.
You're like a dinosaur, and you're going extinct.
Better. What's your name again?
Frost, first name Deacon. Don't forget it. I'm a hope, a beacon of light in the dark for vampires near and far.
Better hurry in. You have 2 minutes. And then, they're discussing a new sound ordinance.
Yeah, again, the storytelling with the video and the movie is tight. It's tight. I dig it. It's great.
Frost.
But who is Brenda Foster? See, now I am intrigued. I am intrigued by this. I'm kind of sad that I'm only going to be checking out the first 6, but this is a whole entire 75-minute production. So if you are interested in where it's going, please do go check out the links in the description to watch it all through. And you might even be able to, if you do it that way, you won't have to, have me sort of talking about it in between. You can just get all of it at once, Maybe after watching this video though. But either way, I'm not sure if that was as much of a story as kind of like a song is just kind of letting us know what was going to happen. You have like kind of nice sort of plaintive kind of piano music there, kind of peppy. You have great sound design there. It's a cool track there. It sort of sets the precedent. You're wondering who this Brenda person is. We're going to get more of the Daywalker though.
These dance parties are attracting too much attention. What do we do about the Daywalker? The humans are not our allies. If you think you can rewrite the rules, you're dreaming. Set in the old rules, but we all know the golden rule. Treat me with respect or end with regret. Quite a mouthful from this council.
Great repeaters there.
One where all vampires can live openly. Well, forgive me for hoping a new dusk for vampires you'll see. Come along, for I promise in this saga I'll fulfill the La Magra prophecy. It'll be a shake-up of this rinky-rink. The dinosaurs woke up one day extinct. You're all asleep telling me that I'm dreaming. So confident, but you don't see what I'm seeing. If I'm dreaming, hold my hand and see me, your fellow being. It's so vivid, I won't be timid. Come alongside and live it. If I'm dreaming, join me and wake up because I have a dream.
Okay. Alright, I can follow along to this.
Rewrite the rules, your dream. From your pedestal so elevated, you're telling me what to believe, who to be and what to dream. Cobwebs of deceit, but in the grit and the grind, where the shadows begin. To the day-to-day climbers, by my side are the everyday vampires. Keep doing it, keep questioning me, passion of the prophecy. Soon you'll see. Once I gain traction, you'll be begging me. It'll be a novel election, electing me. Power to the vampires in the streets, they're investing in me. Some selecting me, the direct democracy we need. You're either with or against me, there's no in between. See,
So it's like sort of like more sort of following the story based around a set sort of motif.
see you in my dreams, or meet me in your nightmares. You're all asleep telling me that I'm dreaming. So confident, but you'll see what I'm seeing. If I'm dreaming, hold my hand and see me, you fellow being. It's so vivid, I won't be timid. Come alongside and live it. If I'm dreaming, join me and wake up because I have a dream.
Get out! This vampire council no longer welcomes you. Leave! Leave this instant! I insist it!
Nightmares it is then. I'll leave you, have your reprieve for now. But remember, I'm down there with them and all the new bred vampires. I'm right there with them. I'm hungry for a dream, so are my vampire brethren.
Great inclusion of a guitar solo here. It's very fascinating.
You're all asleep telling me that I'm dreaming. So confident, but you don't see what I'm seeing. If I'm dreaming, hold my hand and see me, your fellow being. It's so vivid, I won't be timid. Come alongside and live it. If I'm dreaming, join me and wake up because I have a dream.
Like I could kind of understand, how do I describe it? I could imagine a situation where like a musical, like a play like this could be done in like a bigger sort of format there with a big budget and you could get people kind of like rallying behind it. I'm figuring out, because apparently this is going to be released in November. So if you're watching this, I think it is going to come out in November. I think it's intrinsically kind of like entertaining, partly because you are getting this sort of storytelling. A lot of the strength of this, including this piece titled "They Tell Me I'm Dreaming," it's the storytelling. You know, you can have these conversations in these sung parts there, and we can capture and hit these notes really cleanly. And you know, like I like the sound of the synths, the guitars, bass, and drums in this, as well as the keys and everything like that. There's a lot of really pleasant sounding instruments within it. And there's like a sort of like a more of a sort of like contemporary sort of structure to this. I know I said it was like, I didn't say it was through composed before. I was gonna say it, but then I realized no, it's still like verse chorus structure. But it's purposefully kind of like made so that the vocals are the focal point. Aside from when we had the guitar solo in the later half, which was kind of sick as well there, I appreciated the change in sort of lead texture there. It was good, especially with the longer form tracks. I don't think many of these have been close to 3 minutes 9 seconds. But I suppose when I listen to this song, it kind of it gives you an idea of where they're at there. It tells the story whilst they're singing it, and it kind of moves you further towards the overall plot, which is, you know, kind of like calling water wet. But you know what I mean? It's again, it's that audio-visual experience, I think, that kind of sells it there. Even if you're not sort of like totally sold on the kind of AI stuff, you've got to admit some of the stuff they're doing is pretty incredible with the visuals. And I think it's also that a lot of the sort of like production is quite fresh sounding, quite modern sounding though. It's like a lot of the pop music, like the last 10 years or so, there's like a bounciness to it. There's like a polish to it that, again, the technology has gotten a lot better over the last while. And the vocals do sit quite well in the mix there. I liked the variety of different vocal melodies there. We had a great sort of texture to it. And we didn't overcomplicate it either. There were pauses where we had like the callback from the council sort of saying that rather, you know, they would fight the guy on it, and then they chose the nightmare, right? And it's the story, of course, as I understand this particular part, is about this guy trying to like convince the council that they need to change things. Their vampires should be able to live eternally and stuff like that. And the council's like, no, I don't, change is bad. And then like they're going to go, this main guy is going to go and talk to like the street vampires and sort of figure stuff out, and then maybe form like a rebellion or something. Either way, the fact that I care about it, like I genuinely am curious about where this is going, and it'd be good to hear more of it. We've got dinner at the Longtooths scene.
Ah! Blade foiled us again.
Daddy, we're so hungry. Where's dinner? Yeah, where's dinner, Daddy?
Oh, honey.
It's just too much.
Don't tell me we have to send the kids to their coffins bloodthirsty again tonight.
At least I made it home. I can't stand it anymore. At the shelter, at the terminally ill ward, even at the blood bank. Blade is there to ruin everyone's night.
He'll have to take a night off. Even vigilantes need to rest.
Remember when he got Uncle Robert?
Yes, Leah, don't remind me. Just a guy at a dance club grabbing a drink.
Uncle Robert was supposed to play baseball with me the next night.
I remember you were sitting on the roof with your mitt on. I had to yell at you that the sunrise was coming.
All he does is break up families. And the humans call that guy a hero.
Hello, I brought you some of my blood.
Yay, yay!
You're a lifesaver, Isabel.
It's not much.
Oh, Isabel, you didn't have to. I know you have your own human struggles.
Don't even. We're neighbors. My birthday's coming up, you know?
Of course, we are going to make you a cake.
Ooh, I hope it's chocolate.
With sprinkles.
I can't wait. Well, I must be going now. Give all Isabel some huggies, girls. Stay safe. See you tomorrow for piano practice.
Bye, Isabel.
We really can't thank you enough.
Leah, set the table, dear. We'll make soup.
Daddy?
And again, the sound of like the spoons and the cutlery and everything like that. It does sound realistic. It's very well handled.
Yes, dear.
Who's that at the window?
It's Blade. No. Oh, thank La Magra. He's gone. Come here, girls. Give your daddy a hug.
Honey, that was close.
Oh, okay. So that was dinner at the Longtooths. That was him discussing like the fact that Blade has been going around ruining their lives and that Blade actually isn't the hero everyone thinks it is. It's nice to actually have the angle of just the normal vampires there. It's an interesting sort of like angle as well to have the human giving them blood as like a neighborly kind of thing. Like they coexist there. Is the idea that like the vampires aren't actually that bad and that they're actually like trying to avoid eating human beings, that the humans are trying to sort of like cater them, and that Blade is actually a massive inconvenience to everyone else despite what he's trying to figure out? It's an interesting development there. I think it makes sense to have this sort of like story-wise after what was going on with the council thing, and it kind of lets you know how the actual people think about it and the fact there might be an opening for this guy to sort of like create a sort of a rebellion and conspiracy against the council. And it's making sense there. And Blade just featuring and then driving off and everything like that was kind of dope too. It's an interesting angle. We're going to listen to one more though, okay? I like the crispness of the vocal quality as well as of the Foley and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And then we have Different, track number 7. Or number 6 after the introduction.
I've always been different. No group, no clique, no equivalent. But I see it now, trained for indifference. Proficient in ignorance from a young age. To be filled with rage, no one to confide in. Single-minded, my education was eradication. No questions, no dimension, just us versus them in the trenches. Different, how did I miss it before? After all I've seen, I'm not the same anymore. Breaking the mold, I'm different, I know. Gonna make the change and let it show.
It's an interesting sort of like juxtaposition we have between like the heaviness of what we're talking about with the vocal styles in this versus like the kind of peppiness of the pop tunes with the synths, the keys, the bass, and the drums.
Wanna make a difference, stand tall, take the floor. Cause I must be different, can't ignore it anymore.
Like we're trying to make it poppy and kind of catchy.
Fearful, so I hear, but if you listen, you may detect cracks. I can't look in the mirror because I'm like them. My face reflects back. I want them to see me, I want to see them. Eye to eye, motto, imato, share a smile, a nod, a handshake with any person, reflection or not. I'm different, how did I miss it before? After all I've seen, I'm not the same anymore. Breaking the mold, I'm different, I know. Gonna make a change and let it show. I wanna make a difference, stand tall, take the floor. Cause I must be different, can't ignore it anymore. Not different.
Great tail on that.
They say, oh what a sage, a slave to fate. Accept my destiny readily, they rub it in like ointment. But when you're filled with venom, inevitably you get poisoned. Can't do it anymore, stomping in no tiptoe. Whistle raised me, I adore him, but I'm not a baby no more. No more waiting, no more, it's bad form. Come on blade, the water's warm. I'll slice through the silence like an X-Acto. It's so clear so I have to. I'll just explain it to him and he'll get it. It's logic and I need his acceptance. The time has come. I'll just be a little tactful. The facade is exposed. These sunglasses are black if they were ever rose. And so ipso facto, I'm different. How did I miss it before? After all I've seen, I'm not the same anymore. Breaking the mold, I'm different, I know. Gonna make a change and let it show. I wanna make a difference. Stand tall, take the floor. Cause I must be different. Can't ignore it anymore.
There we go, Daywalker, different. Okay, that's an interesting track. I did actually enjoy my time with that one. I will get the art back on the screen. There we go. Unauthorized satire, Daywalker the Musical with this track, Different. I think this is discussing how he feels like he is different to other people, or wants to sort of establish a common connection between them, to shake hands whether they have a reflection or not, despite the sort of impression that the other vampires have of him. I think that's an interesting angle to have with this. Again, we had like similar instruments in previous tracks, like we had, like piano parts there, articulating the triads and the chord progression really well there. Nothing too sort of edgy. There might have been some extensions very occasionally, but we're trying to sort of make it a bit more sort of vocal focused. Not trying to complicate things too much there. The bass line underneath sitting with those root notes. The drum parts, there were some interesting sort of tom fills, but predominantly those simple snare and kick grooves. And pads kind of forming a kind of ether in the mid to low, and maybe a little bit of sparkle in the high range there, kind of surrounding you in like a warm kind of blanket. With occasional pauses just for the vocals to kind of sit in there and kind of be present. I like it. I think it's very much that kind of I'm trying to have this kind of poppy, peppy, upbeat kind of theme in my track regardless. Is it because overall we're trying to sort of seek a connection, we're trying to let the audience know that this is a positive, and that even if we're kind of struggling, we want, and we've had difficulties with like the sort of the direction we had, not being able to get along with people, getting filled with hate and anger from when we were young. Are we trying to sort of imply that where this is a new direction and it's positive? Is that the kind of angle we're going for with this? I mean, that makes sense to me. But either way, I think production-wise, things were well balanced in the mix. Nicely handled, in dynamic range. We're going to talk about this entire musical, though, more in the conclusion. Because welcome to my review of this musical. It's a musical titled Daywalker the Musical. It's my review of like the first 6 or 7 parts of it, including the intro there. Now, what do I think this musical is about? I mean, patently, it's a satire of Blade 1998, where in Daywalker, he's this dude that got born to a woman who, when they were pregnant, she died, I think, because of the vamp. And then they got a mentor, and then Blade became this person who could walk in the daytime and was basically trying to avenge their mother and try to find, but they're also trying to sort of like find a common ground and try to get along with people. It's a complicated situation they're in. They're just trying to sort of figure stuff out. I think that you've also got all these different angles there of like the council, the vampire council, and this other person trying to sort of lead all this kind of street and kind of, quote unquote, normal vampires against Blade, who already don't like him very much. And you kind of get this angle of the humans and some of the vampires coexisting as neighbors. And it does actually like read like a movie. It feels like I'm listening to a movie. And as well as the earlier videos with your audio visual elements, like the AI sort of like with the AI techniques and everything like that, you can kind of, it's a very interesting sort of situation we have there. I liked the effort to try and tell a story there. I thought the vocals were great. I'm not entirely sure what they've done with those vocals there, how they've treated them, because there are some sort of like big steps with the way that the notes are sung, and there are some interesting sort of legato melodic tails in some of those parts there. I think that the voiceovers were quite effective for the most part. There were some jokes that were being told earlier on, if I'm not mistaken, or some like statements that were being made with interesting phrasing rhythmically. I'm wondering, like, it's definitely come a long way. It's good. It's just some of the parts sounded a little bit awkward, like in the interlude section where there was a woman and a man and stuff like that. But it's the same thing. Like I think that if we are trying to sort of like sync and like place things the way they need to be, we're trying to sort of imagine how it would be done and trying to sort of encourage technology to allow us to happen as well. So I think for the most part, it's very good. the male and sort of like sung lady and male vocals that we had in the first like song, as well as the other voiceovers. They were nice and clear in the mix. The notes were hit really cleanly. There was no notes mixed. It was very to the point, and typically we sung in a way which made sense. There was also like kind of calling out or bits of sort of extra charisma or emphasis on certain parts that we did sound like we were having a bit more of a kind of like down. Like there was extra oomph to parts which made it seem a bit more natural, and which is why I'm kind of like I'm not sure how the vocals were done, but I mean either way I did enjoy the vast majority of it. I think that we sung in a way which was very effective for the backing arrangements there. Typically these tracks of course being about like 2 to 3 minutes, the voiceovers being about 1 to 1.5. The tracks typically consisted of guitar, bass, keys, and pianos with some synth parts as well. I think that when we heard the pianos, they were typically sort of very well formatted, and now it's typically sort of like balladesque kind of things going between like the triads or arpeggios on the right hand there, chords on the left there, maybe some movements off of the whole note kind of accents, but typically there was a bit of some movement between the fingers on the right hand, sort of expand and explore those first, third, and fifths. The bass line in the bottom there, when it was there, was either like an 808, so it was like had a kind of sub-bassist resonance there, typically resolved with the root notes of the overall harmony. But it sounded cool. It worked really well in the rap sections. All right, it's because it was also rapping, and I thought the rapping was handled pretty well as well in the various verses we had it there. There was some adjustments of like the length of the lines there. Some lines went over other parts. There was flexibility with the rhythmic sort of phrasing and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. It wasn't just the entire time. There was like lots of different ways of approaching it. So that was well handled, well done. The drums going along with 808s were nicely sort of side-chained there and had a sense of pulse and power behind them and kept the pace going really well, and there was a great sense of groove in. And ultimately, I think that honestly the drums and bass and the actual keys, as well as some of the guitar parts when they came in there, a bit of distortion, a bit of grit there, you know, and they were kind of fuzzy and melted well into the ether. And then that solo section we had in that track about the council there was pretty well handled as well for the most part. It wasn't super over the top, but it was enough to kind of keep us interested and engaged in, you know, having a new sort of alternate lead texture. And the track is always good. There was nothing super wild or like confrontational or abrasive in regards to the way the song was written there. The instrumental layers typically layered really well with each other there. We knew to work with our major and minor key sigs with certain songs and themes there. The last track in particular, though, I think was maybe a tiny bit of a stretch with it, but I understand we were going towards that sort of major-ish outcome. And so ultimately, I think it's a piece of music that like is quite well written, at least from the story perspective. There are very palatable, kind of accessible and approachable musical themes there with instruments that people will be quite familiar with. And the way they were played is there more so than anything else to support the vocals, or to be like as a backing layer in some of those sort of like spoken parts there, the interludes and intro sections. Enough color to sound pretty, and yeah, we handled it. I think it was an overall quite a tight performance, but the studio recording, mixing, and mastering was pretty well handled there. Spoken about the vocals quite a bit. They came through clearly in the mix, whether it was the male or the female or the voiceovers. The guitars were panned on the sides of the piano as well. Nice and niched in that mid-range there with a bit of sparkle on the top rights. The bass in the bottom part of the frequency spectrum, and then the drums were nicely niched around the stereo field as well. It was dynamic range. Things just came to a stop occasionally. And there was interesting use of Foley as well, as I mentioned, and like the cluttering of the teapots and stuff like that, and like the one with like the dinner with the Longtooths or something like that, right? They as well as like the battle warfare and the intro track, you know, like they put a lot of effort and love into this musical, to be fair. And it was nice and loud without pumping to the bus compression, and limiting was handled. And effectively, this is my review of this musical. The first 7 parts of it was Daywalker the Musical, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.